Hello everybody, how you all doing? Thank you for showing up and taking the time out of your day to hang out with me and watch and talk about the market. I guess first of all, hello to everybody ranging from Michalis, Alex, Joe, Vasily, Johnny, Tomas, Danny, and Agent K as always. Good to see you all. Let's dive right into this. Although today might some look at this and say it's a nothing burger because where we're at right now. I mean, we still do have about 33 minutes to go. So, howdy, Casey. Good to see you. We have still some ways to go down. Well, if we have some time rather, and some would consider this as a nothing burger day because I mean, we're all in the same range. All in all, if you would have been able to capitalize on anything today, I doubt it. Um, all the known culprits are kind of on down on the day, so again, nothing all that surprising. So you probably you didn't have a safe haven today, so to speak, right? So nothing all that special, but let's focus on the S&P, the stuff we really want to look at and try and understand where the market is headed, right? We have had the opportunity to close a tiny little gap we had here, that little gap thingy that we had right there. We got to close. We had the privilege of closing that beautiful thing today, right there. So we're good on that front. We've opened up this on the 7th and 8th, right? So that one is out, said and done. Now we have another gap that is not all that big right below us at 59 area, call it 59.47, 59.29, and we'll see whether we can assess that this thing is going to get closed anytime soon. Of course, we have the ginormous crater that we have made just about a week ago, more-ish, yeah, a week, about a week, between the 5th and the 6th, and which is about $110 wide, if you will, right? So let's look at today's market. 1 minute, let's skip them in 5 minutes as where things become a bit more interesting. So the 5 minutes actually is a very good time frame to look at when it comes to the end of the session where we're at right now. We can almost clearly see what the market can predict in the shorter term range, right? We are on a clear downtrend right now, although we're having some, well, potentially acceleration right here, but we're going to have a slowdown when you have this convergence of the forces basically right here. We naturally are usually going to see a bit of a slowdown, right? It's not going to be as rapid as it was moving, sort of correcting from an upslope to flat, basically flattening the curve and then going to the downside. But let's see what 30 minutes tells us potentially. 30 minutes tells us actually that we just went bearish, right? Just on that very candlestick right here. That was where the transition was. So in fact, we're just now starting to see the bearish momentum. Looking at the channel, the short-term channel on that 30-minute range, we get what? We get basically this. We get about 59.77. That sort of falls in line very neatly with the 5 minutes, what we saw there. So kind of makes sense. We assess that towards the end of the session, we can potentially visit some of these areas right there. Pardon me for that weird drawing. That was not the intention, but that's what we got. Sure, that worked. Crooked ass pattern, as we say. Righty. So, come on, readjust, please. What is the 45 minutes tells us? Well, 45 is not really indicative of anything. It's just sort of in the body of the stochastic RSI. So we're at face value bullish, but not really seeing the full force of the thing. That oftentimes is more of an impulse sort of scenario where we can actually probably see just this breakout, temporary relief, and break into the oversold territory. Let's see if we can have any confirmation on larger time frames on that. Let's see. Well, again, 1 hour since never broke actually truly out of the 20 range right here. There's high probability, the same way we often say these areas, this 80, this 20, either poses as a support form or a resistance form, and vice versa, right? We can have this on this bottom one. Pardon me for my incorrect drawing. I would argue that in this instance, if we're going to become more bearish, again, we're going to look at the larger time frames and let's see if these are more indicative of bearish movement. And if they are, basically we'll sustain something similar and in fact amplified on smaller time frames, or well, at least so it will feel over a period of time, right? So what we're looking here at is that potentially we're, because this is an amplified, blown up sort of structure of the thing, and it's easier to see how through the 1 hour, we're probably going to break below that 20% retracement when we're going to have convergence of the forces, potentially bringing us to the downside. Is that the case? Let's see. Well, here is where the pain truly reveals itself. The 4-hourly time frame is basically showing that we've been running hot this entire trend. Here it is, or if you will, this entire rally. Squeeze the vast majority of the juice, the fuel that we had in the system, the bullish momentum, if you will. And now we're moving to that range where we're basically running out of fuel mid-air. And guess what happens normally? Well, we're going to start correcting, obviously, very likely. We're going to test that median, which closes this wonderful gap we just spoke about a couple of minutes ago. And more so, potentially, after testing this thing, brings us even further lower, right? Starting to close this gap. Now, since the gap is actually wider and it continues all the way to this bottom, it's far less likely for the price action to penetrate into the gap and not end up closing it. So it's far more likely that by this movement on the 4-hourly that we will see within the upcoming sessions, right, with a session basically in front of us, maybe session and a half, but then I believe we'll start seeing this come to fruition, not necessarily right away breaking lower right away, but at least testing some of these. But yes, we're starting to see a sign that we're headed for a correction, potentially to that lower range. Here it is. You can see it moving throughout all of this beautiful stuff. And we're expecting it to correct to the downside, actually here correlating neatly to that red candlestick that I said we will have on the weekly, right? So basically, we're going to slide into next week or monthly, I think it was, that actually we're going to see some downwards movement and potentially start testing this wedge as we kill off more time. Does that mean we're not going to break below? Yes, it actually means we can easily do that. Let me just clean that up a little bit so you can see stuff here better, right? So based upon this, right, since we are already going bearish, but we are in overbought territory, in other words, we're just cooling off that rally. But once we start that cool-off period, this is suggestive that we are right potentially about to correct. Let's see if this will hold, or do we have confirmation that is stronger and is derived from larger time frames, right? Makes sense? I mean, we've seen it before. We've seen how larger time frames take dominance over the smaller time frames, and basically why we can do a lot more damage or a lot more good throughout a longer period of time. It's just that simple. Here we're actually seeing something very confusing. Here we're seeing that on one hand, we were racing towards overbought territory in which we are expected to see a potential rally, right? But really we started breaking down below the 80% range, just as I told you, as you saw earlier, but vice versa. Again, we're discussing, but this is on the top end. What is this indicative of? If we will see in a shorter term period within the upcoming sessions more weakness, more bearish momentum within the price action, right? This will overturn. In other words, we will see this thing just flip over, basically break down, although right now temporarily and potentially through another convergence and divergence of the forces. But this is very, very suspicious and very indicative of the trend breaking before it ever actually reaches true high momentum by moving into overbought territory. True strong momentum will come when it comes to buying momentum. It comes when we move into overbought and vice versa. Shorting momentum, or rather the slowdown, the deterioration of that bullish momentum will come through when we are in oversold territory. Yes. So overbought will express bullish momentum, all right, or bullish sentiment, and oversold will express bearish sentiment. Pretty simple. And the fact of the matter that the market is not able to penetrate into this area within itself, although not necessarily indicating negative or bearish sentiment, as we said, that actually within itself does. Okay? This implies weakness, if you will. Now, the beautiful 1 monthly chart. We have now 17 days and 1 hour, of course, to close this final session. Well, not really 1 hour, really more like 23 minutes. And the closer we're going to get to the next month, easier it will be for us to see whether that's going to be the actual detrimental month, right? We are basically one step away from the market initiating the correction, and we're waiting for it to happen. We were expecting it to happen, actually start this month already. That this month so far played out very bullish, but we know this month is not over yet, 17 more days, and we're expecting correction based upon the smaller time frames. So it's not going to be surprising, all in all, if this entire candlestick will look very, very differently by the time we close the month, and will look more like a gigantic body with a smaller body with a gigantic wick, expressing the bullish momentum sentiment we had before we had to correct throughout that very same month to where we have our gaps on the lower end. You see? So this, again, remember, looks very, very strong, but it's very temporary. More often than not, what we end up when we're hitting that sort of ceiling of the trend, what is far more likely is for us to sort of scrape the ceiling, maybe even test it once or twice, and eventually break. And those who were asking about, could this be prolonged into January? Yes, June, sorry. This could actually be prolonged to June, okay? January, yes, January, sorry. Brain isn't working because I'm thinking about the chart, right? So this basically could be prolonged to the beginning of next year. Why? How? Because of this, we can literally see the structure, and if we are familiar with how the price action normally behaves, we will realize that oftentimes we don't break within a single day or two. In fact, more often than not, we spend at least several months testing these very ranges before we truly start to have a correction. So it could be that we'll prolong this process for actually a month and a half, maybe two, still before we're going to see a true correction. Okay? Alrighty, that's that. Pardon me for going bananas with the months. It's kind of problematic when you speak 3 languages. Your brain goes, eh. Especially my brain, because I'm stupid apparently. Everything all well. What did I miss? All right. So howdy, everybody. Everything all chubby. Hello. Good to see you there, Christoph. Lovely. Thank you for joining. Hello, lovely people. Make sure to hit the helmet button and ring the bell. I thank you very much, Christoph. Don't forget to join. I now have my own private Patreon. YouTube is definitely not being good with me, so if you want to support the channel by any means, join the Patreon. It's only $10 a month, and you get to hang out with me on a daily basis, ask me questions and whatnot, weekly hangouts, and all sorts of cool stuff. Supports the channel, supports me, makes the Discord grow. Those who are not from the Discord here, although I believe most of you are, the links are in the description below. Of course, you cannot make it to the Discord, although, I mean, you can make it to the Discord, but it's pointless. If you don't have a Patreon role, a Patreon membership, you'll just be stuck in the lobby, basically. You'll not be able to make it anywhere. So the Discord is 100% private, just for my Patreon, various Patreon members and students of my academy. Here is the link. Check it out, use it, alrighty. And let's get into questions and all that wonderful stuff. That was a quick commercial. Alright, let's do questions. 25 watching and only 10 likes. Please bump up the number up, y'all. Thank you. Now, questions. Let's do questions. Some would say this is nothing. This is a nothing burger today. Like, I mean, because we broke down, corrected. No, this is showing weakness. This is deterioration of momentum. Notice, if you really want to be attentive to what's going on here, notice we're pulling to the downside, starting to do it, but weaker, then stronger, and then stronger. So where's the market headed? What do you think? Where the market is pulling right now towards? To have the same stuff. I sometimes would like to have the same stuff you take. Come and visit Israel. We're gonna have a blast. Plug Danny. Let's do plugged up today very badly. If you didn't see, a miss on the earnings of the 295%, call it three on that range. So that sucks. We are talking on the revenue side 207 estimated, reported 173.73 million. So quite a miss right there, a miss of 33.52 mil, if you will, to keep it short and simple. 16.17%, let's call it 16% miss. That's a big major thing for a small company like this. It's not good. It's not good, and that's not really what we were expecting. So, look, to be frank, this is not indicative of anything, and you can see the market was basically already pricing this in because the reaction was very tame, and in fact pushed us back up to 189, which coincidentally, wink wink, magically we know to be our we don't like to jinx it this way, but let's call it bottom. All right, let's call it bottom just for the sake of everything. Whenever you do that, that shows that you're wrong and there's a new bottom, but we shouldn't do that. Anyways, but right now we're seeing that 189 is support. To be frank, I mean, you can understand, you can see our total assets are kind of shrinking, total liabilities are increasing. So we're not having a good time right now. But look, it's not all about the balance sheet. It's not all about how the company does on paper. It's what the sector does. It's what the technicals are showing. It's what energy is doing. It's whether we're talking about green hydrogen or blue hydrogen. Whether we're finally, gonna go into profit. The discussion here is wide and spread, but if we want to be objective here, as we often do, we look just at the technicals, right? This is sort of the premise of the idea here, is that the technicals are already revealing what the sentiment is like underneath under the ground. So on the daily, it seems like we're finishing or finalizing the downwards trend that we've been having for a long time. It just ended up being very, very prolonged. Basically winding up the spring. We're basically moving into this wedge, it seems to be. And I would argue that that's what is the daily giving us, and we'll probably test it for a little longer, which means actually probably we're talking here about like 2 months-ish until we test this and we see how things pan out. But if you are objective on the weekly, right, which is sort of iffy, and you're like, well, what's going on here? In fact, we are moving into overbought territory. It's just very, very, very slow, very, very sluggish. And we are squeezing out that beautiful, horrible wave that actually had three impulses here, of which it was potentially an exit, if you will. We ended up crashing all the way to the bottom, squeezing the bejesus of that oversold momentum, and you can see what happened with that. Basically, the entire thing collapsed, right? We're not riding the whole thing from there. That's not the how long the trade is with us. In fact, for us, this trade only became interesting right here, just for those who don't understand. Again, we are planning to swing this thing, right? And there are several possibilities with it. Some would argue, of course, it can drop down to zero, which is not that far off as much as you realize, not as far as off as some people would think. We're right there. So we're basically scraping the bottom as is, and we're just getting ready to rally, right? But I would argue that this rally is highly dependent on the overall energy sector. And for energy, you want to be looking at oil, and whether hydrogen within itself will be able to actually rally this time around, I have a bit of a doubt about that. My actual expectation is when we're going to start to seeing the quarterly, which I believe sooner or later, probably we're talking about a quarter from here start printing positive momentum from what we saw, squeezing out all that negativity. Basically, we're going to be done with it, and we're going to be free to start actually gaining some momentum. And that's also highly dependent on how the structure of energy, this energy sector will look like in general. And if energy will be doing well, we will basically start this earlier than expected, giving us a nice swing. Those who wonder how high am I planning to go, there is a rather strong support resistance that I've recognized around 10, the area of 10. Of course, I'm not assessing to stay right away just straight up from here to 10. No. There's a very strong support resistance level at around 630, kinda in between that area. So I just fell on 630. That was not planned, but we're talking about the high fives and the low sixes. So we have a decent range of supports and resistances there. If successful and still retaining bullish momentum, yes, I will stay in all the way to 10. How long will it take? As long as it will, that's how long I will be doing it. Unless I see other signs and seeing that it's not going to do that. All right. That is plug for you, Danny. So basically, it is already squeezing the pain out, right? So, but the problem is this entire thing can get prolonged for an entire quarter, right? Just for you to understand, just before we see any signs of actual waking up, just to be clear on the thing. So on the monthly, although we're printing positively and we're getting ready to go positive on the weekly, wait. We need all the things to fall in line and, well, hopefully even seeing energy picking up a little bit. And then we're going to see a subsequent reaction of the entire sector. So we're going to have when you have assets moving in solidarity with one another, basically, we have a particular sector getting pushed. Like, for example, you guys all seen it with Tesla, where you had Tesla having a significant rally, and everybody and anything that has to do with electric vehicles from battery makers and other manufacturers basically were doing very, very well. So that's that. Kind of a sector-wide movement. So plug, potential, yes. Long time to wait still, it seems, relatively speaking, for those who have been waiting for some time, like myself and Stonky, or at least observing Stonks more. So Stonks went through hell and high water with this asset. So if anybody deserves credit for, enduring the pain is Stonks, because the asset was, or at least was showing very positive signs very early on, but ended up prolonging the pain. And yeah, salute to Stonks for being able to hold that one. KULR, my all-in penny stock. You know we hate penny stocks here, right? Tungan, you should know we were not big on penny stocks here, right? KULR. Let's see what's the shtick here. Right. Okay, I see. I wouldn't even try and set up the structure on it. It's gonna be, yeah. Yeah. Are you market correlated somehow? What are you? What are you? Oh, yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are. Okay. So, yeah, you got the impulse there. Okay. Though this is not bad, but not great whatsoever. You're obviously gonna retest that thing right there. So you're gonna close that movement down again. I'm rather certain. You're gonna test this as a floor now, right? It's gonna get retested. And if rejected, you're going down. Yes, like if rejected, you're going down again, even worse. But which is this is yeah, I mean, makes sense. We're gonna rejected, so probably retest. You're gonna basically, so it's gonna do this wedge thing that you've created, artificial thing here, right there, and then when it's all done, said and done, and finally breaking out of that wedge, which is probably this beautiful thing that you're seeing, by the end of next month, you might see some nice, decent rally on it. But how sustainable this is? $1. $1. It is $1. You can go to $1 if you stay inside. I'm not doing great. Yeah, $1. Yeah, that's that. If you are gonna be able to hold the pain, you might actually see $1. Not that far off. Again, I don't care for earnings. We said this before. The market oftentimes is set up in terms of its sentiment and structure, unless you're gonna get something that is counterintuitive to what the technicals were structuring, which I wouldn't go with that. I would simply go with what the technicals are showing. It doesn't matter. Good for them. Really doesn't matter. Sorry. You might just, I mean, it might, push you one way or another for a day or two, maybe for a week. All in all, direction is set. Sorry. It is what it is. Yeah, here's that same wedge from another angle. Yeah. Yep. You're gonna do like a wedge thingy here. Yep. Yeah, sure. I'm not a big fan of penny stocks because they're usually annoying and it's annoying to measure them and really analyze them. I mean, I can, but they're very highly unpredictable and the trend can change several times over. So take everything I just said about it with a grain of salt. But it is what it's showing, so I'm not gonna argue. I mean, it is what it is. Alrighty. I'm a penny guy. No, some people here, yeah. I mean, you see. Tungan, you have some people here that really like. Hello, Leo. Hello. Tinybug23. Hello. Welcome. Yeah, next level. I mean, there you go. There's a thing you can maybe ride a little bit. They have earnings tomorrow, we said. Chobi, been away for a bit. Have you discussed Archer at all? No, actually, no, I have not. If you want, let's do Archer for you. Why not? Archer, like that, like this Archer. Wait. Something here is off. Is that what is that? What have we discussed? What am I getting wrong here? Let's see. No, that's what you wrote, sir. You have wrote exactly that. You mean that, Archer, just to be sure? Or you mean something else? Or because that's ROC. Is that what we're talking about? Chobi? Probably. See, again, we don't know. Let's Vasily, let's let the guy answer. Are we talking about ACHR? Chobi? You need to give us the right answer there. Thanks very much, Greg. Really appreciate you looking at that for me. Sure, no problem. Ken, sorry, BTC Miner. Yeah, no, but why? I mean, let's do this. Chris, you know I'm not a fan, but sure. That one? Chris, that's what we talking about? Yeah, gotcha. Alrighty. Chobi, you'll have to get back to me on this one. You need to answer whether we're talking about ACHR or about something else there. I just want to make sure from you. We cannot continue otherwise. Danny, sure thing. Pleasure, pleasure. I'm glad you guys find value in these things here. So, um, interesting. You guys are bringing some interesting stuff today to the table. The table is satisfied. You bring good stuff, good stuff. So short term, you're still chasing that upwards trend. You're not bad with this one. You're chasing an upwards trend, but you're definitely gonna retest that bottom of it. Median, sorry. You're gonna do this. I mean, this. You're gonna do the ceiling, obviously. Again, ACHR. No problem, Chubby. We'll do this right after this one. I am pretty sure you're gonna do this one again as well, which brings you back to, I mean, with the period of time, just kind of, like call it 113, 12, 113, 15, kind of like that, what you're saying there on the screen. Like that-ish, I think. I mean, that seems to be the vicinity of which you can be testing. But all in all, you're chasing an uptrend. So that's kind of good. That means you're probably getting out of this downtrend, at least temporarily for an attempt, right? Let's see what your larger time frames are saying. Yes, you actually are breaking out, it seems. So you might be seeing some money with this one. How long money? You might see some money with this one. Actually, pretty neatly, I might say you might be looking at doubling your money on this one. You might be looking at doubling your money. That's the technicals. Again, I don't know what the fundamental story is, but I can tell you the technicals really like what's going on here. So you might be actually be doing some really nice returns on this within, I would say, about 6-7 months. What are you also having earnings any second now, right? Like any second now, Lily, right? So, which is what? Right. Okay, I see. Gold in a bit of a minute here, right? Give me a second. I need to look at. I hope that covered, Chris. I hope that covered your question, Johnny Lurila. Johnny. Alrighty. Good that you said that earnings don't mean much when it comes to technical, since it was just about to type question. No, no. I mean, Johnny, don't get me wrong. It might affect, but usually, if the outcome is not completely phenomenal and completely unexpected, usually you're gonna have just something that's gonna move the price action in a more volatile way within the ranges it already moves. So usually you're not going to see anything that exceptional unless the earnings are truly exceptional. Unless the beauty of technical analysis, when the asset is truly something that could be analyzed through the lens of technical analysis, oftentimes earnings are already priced in and you can actually see how it all sort of plays out. So, oftentimes, what you will see sort of already preset. Yes, you will see some volatility within the confines of that range, but otherwise, it's not like it's going to be something that is all that abnormal or will really push the price action out of the range that you're currently in for a long time. There's going to be a bit of retest, and all in all said and done, it's going to go back to the median. Oftentimes the market moves around the median. So CHR. Alrighty. I think we've looked at them just Archer Aviation. We just looked at them the other just recently. I don't mind. I don't mind at all. I'm just saying. I hope I was saying it's gonna go positive because now it's definitely printing positive signs. I mean, you're definitely probably in the near term future gonna retest. When is that? What is that? What we're doing? Earnings you just gone through. So Archer is trying to say that it's gonna test its median, and if successful, you're gonna go up. Up? How high up? I mean, legitimately, you easily have all the. My God. You really have all the momentum you need to make it all the way to that median right there of the larger channel, obviously, because there's the ceiling right there, kind of hiding in plain sight, right? So, yeah, you're actually positive on this. Have I said this is positive? Chobi, have I said this is positive last time we looked at this? I hope I have, because this is positive. This is like really, how would we say? It is like this. Mwah, it is very good. Very good. It's not just going to fly up tomorrow, but it actually is pretty positive. I hope I was saying it's positive, because if I wasn't, I was wrong. Again, it's not straightforward. Of course, some retests, but overall, you're positive. I mean, I like that. I like Archer now. It seems, yeah, you're probably gonna test that thingy there temporarily, so it's not that big of a deal. It's before you take the next leg up. That's Chobi. Haven't heard you mention before. I know beyond the shadow of a doubt. I've looked at this before somebody asked. I know for sure. For sure. Archer Aviation. I am certain I've looked at this before. Looks not bad at all, Chobi. Let's say that it looks good. Gold. Gold is up. Danny, gold. Yeah, we go gold. Let's go gold. Gold, I remember gold, I was saying that gold gonna correct to the downside. Ah! Ah! Gentlemen, have I said correctly? I knew, I remember I was saying it will correct. In fact, I remember calling out 2,500, not 26. But I remember clearly calling out, I think Tim was here, and I was calling out Tim back then. It was just like a couple of months ago, I think it was, all in all. Wasn't that long ago that we've been doing this thing and covering gold, and so yeah. Yes, Greg, last month you said gold was going down. Bam! Chris, told you, brother. Thank you for remembering. Yeah, I mean, look, that's good. Gold needs to have a relief. We are, I think, looking, of course, testing this beautiful 25, 26 right there. So this is where we're headed. When we reach that, you can ask me again. We're going to see how it's going to behave. I think it's going to do this beautiful wedge right there. Chris, yeah, you with me? This thing? And yeah, get ready. I mean, I am fairly certain I'm not going to be surprised if gold will test actually 2,500 itself and maybe high 24.9 something there, that. So I've been trying to get on Archer, but seems temporary high. We can look at Archer again. You and I actually can look at Archer in our sessions. You see, when we're gonna look at individual assets, those are good assets to remember that we're gonna look at, and we actually are able to then analyze them in depth with more advanced tools and see really what we get. Don't forget, boys and girls, those who want to have more of my time to do this sort of thing, more like a one-on-one kind of, or in a community capacity, Patreon, Discord, and that's it. We are going 100% private server. No scammers, no harassers, no nothing. No offense to anybody. The couple of people that sort of got in on the day of the move, we will find a solution to that as well. Most of them will be on a temporary role, but otherwise we're going to go full on private. That will support the community, that will support me, that will support the YouTube channel, because I'm not being supported by YouTube, unlike major YouTubers like Tom, because sadly YouTube doesn't like me being from Israel. Sadly, that is the case and not going to change anytime soon. So if you really want to support the channel, don't do super stickers or YouTube memberships. For now, YouTube is being discriminatory against me, so we're not discriminatory. I'm being stupid. But anyway, it is discriminating against me. So if you want to support the channel, the efforts and everything, the best ways are to sign up for the Academy. That's a bit expensive for some people, I get it. But and that's done only directly through me. You know, contact me on Discord. I'll give you the rundown of everything that involves and includes. But yeah, Patreon, more Patreon. If you want to support Patreon and also hang out, smash the like, do all that beautiful stuff. That really does help. Like is free. I mean, so why not after all? Do that beautiful thing and join my Discord, join my Patreon, and let's hang out, talk about all these wonderful things when we do there. Now that was a shameless plug. Here we go. There's another shameless plug. Gold. Yeah, we're gonna do gold. I mean, I've said gold. We know, Chris, we're good. Because gold is more down. More down. Let's talk at 250, 25, 26, right there, kinda area. Alrighty, and then depends on how this wedge will be working out, because you understand the fact that I drew this doesn't mean that was going to be the case. It could be actually this. It could be a 2-4-4-1 right there, some kind of thing. So yeah, just saying that it could be then retaining the downtrend, and then that means we're going to have a bunch of retests right here with a negative wedge and another wedge and another something. So we're going to have potentially, I mean, this path is simpler, this path is far more annoying, and actually results with a lower high. That is not that great. Lower high from this potential high, just to be clear. That's that, boys and girls. That is that. Okay, by the way, those who sign up with the Academy basically get the lifelong Patreon thingy and Discord access. Let's not forget that. Don't forget, we're gonna try and do a hangout this weekend. I'm sorry for last week. I really wanted to do a hangout, but things did not pan out as expected. Yeah, and by the way, the Patreon group will be limited to 1,000 members. Once locked, that's it. I will remove it, and there will be new groups that will be new tiers that will be $20 and higher. For now, that's the lowest, cheapest tier. Once it's filled, done. Alrighty, boys and girls, I think we have adjourned today's session rather successfully. We've covered some stocks. We've covered S&P. That didn't surprise us at all. Where is that? Here it is. Let's, oh my God, I'm a moron. That's great. Go away. No, you go away. No, that go away. So nothing all that surprising. It's pretty much still a nothing burger. We're moving within the confines of this range right there, right? So, sorry, just a bit low, but why am I being stupid like that? Boom, problem solved, right? Actually a bit high, but all right, more like that. Yeah, so that's kind of what we're doing. Chobi Greg, much appreciated. Much appreciated back at you, all of you. Salute you, legends. Thank you for showing up and hanging out. I appreciate your time. Yeah, see you on the next one, boys and girls. So, not much of a surprise. And let's see what the upcoming days will bring. Whether another retest or whether we are actually starting to see more of that real breakdown and or something of this nature. Yeah. Boys and girls, see you on the next one. Vasily, Leo, Chris, thank you all. Yeah. Tungan, yeah, thank you very much. Tungan Death Grip. Alrighty. You definitely either supervillain or superhero. One of the two. Johnny, much love right back at you. Kisses and hugs and kisses. Damn super late work kept me. Mama, you stop worrying. You are the best and the legend. Stop it. It's all good. Don't worry about it. It's good. Stop it. It's fine. You're the best. All of you. Much love, boys and girls. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.